Hello and welcome back to the lead pile. In this video I'm continuing my 6mm Game of Thrones project as we paint up the Tyrells. House Tyrell, Lord Wardens of the South and Overlords of the Reach, hail from the glamorous castle of Highgarden. The Tyrells are a very wealthy house. Why? Because the Reach is the breadbasket of the Seven Kingdoms. With bountiful harvests and excellent wine, the Tyrells consider themselves to be far more cultured and sophisticated than anybody else. However, they were not always this powerful. House Gardner were the previous kings of the Reach, but they were destroyed during Aegon's conquest, resulting in the then Harlan Tyrell surrendering Highgarden and gaining it and the entire Reach as reward. During Game of Thrones, Lord Mace Tyrell is the ruler. However, it's mummy Lady Olenna, the Queen of Thorns, who's really pulling the strings. We don't see much of their army. In Season 2, they briefly appear alongside Renly's army and at the Battle of Blackwater with Tywin, but the armour changes considerably to something completely different when we then see them much later on when Mace and Jaime try to rescue Marjorie, and then subsequently when Jaime destroys Highgarden. Well, I've chosen these dismounted men-at-arms from Bacchus, given them a prime, and then started blocking in all that metal. And I've used Citadel's Lead Belcher. Okay, so once you've painted all of the metallics, or in my case, I ended up painting the entire strip in Lead Belcher, I moved on to the tunic and the shield, and for that I'm using Warboss Green, again from Warhammer. This gave a nice coverage and worked well. Once I'd finished that, I then took a slightly thinner brush and put a wee blob of Kislev flesh on the face. Okay, next I moved on to the spears, and to paint the spear shaft I've gone with a light coloured brown, and I think this was Baneblade brown that I used, but you use whatever brown you like to use for your spears. And as you can see, I used that for the sword scabbard as well. Okay, and with that, the models are basically finished. At this scale, you could just leave them there. They're going to look fine on the gaming table. I decided, however, I wanted to take it to the next level, and so I have used Agras Earthshade. You just use any kind of wash, and I have slathered this all over the model. In hindsight, I just put way too much on. I don't know why I did that. Don't put that much on. It dried really dark, and as you can see, I've then had to go back and use my previous base colours. So that was the Warboss Green and the Baneblade Brown, and indeed even the Lead Belcher, and really try and bring the colour back. So once I've reapplied those base colours, I wanted to add some highlights to really help make these 6mm models pop. And so for that, I have used a highlight colour of Snarsnick Green. Of course, if you don't have Snarsnick Green, just add a little bit of white to your Warboss Green and it'll do the job just fine. With this, I've just decided to just go along and pick out the most raised areas of that cloth and paint it along the top and side of the shield. So to help make the model pop, which I'm all for in 6mm, I decided to freehand a very delicate golden rose. No, I didn't. I just used a blob of yellow paint right in the middle of that shield. And then finally, I have taken Stormhost Silver, so a much brighter metallic, and just gone around and lightly blobbed that onto the most exposed parts of the metallics. And with that, the mini is finished. Well, there we have it. Finished. I think these look really good personally. Of course, I would be biased, but I think that green really looks effective at this scale, and the wee blob of yellow helps distinguish House Tyrell as well. Very straightforward paint job, of course, with base, wash, and highlight, but I'm really happy with it. So here is House Tyrell. Which house would you like me to paint next? Let me know what you think in the comments. Till next time, see you again.